Parker, and we're glad you're here tonight. I'm a certified gut health specialist, and I work with men and women who are struggling with low energy, gut issues, inflammation, blood sugar imbalance, and I help them reset their health naturally. And I'm blessed tonight to be here and joined by four people who have extraordinary health transformations from a protocol that we're going to be talking about tonight. I can't wait for them to share their stories. Tonight, I'd like to introduce to you Bob and Barb Huntiga. So, hi, Barb. Hi, Bob. And then we have, hi. And then we have Deb Moray. Hi, Deb. It's first time on a live with Deb, so we're excited to hear her story. And then Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Lisa Andrews.
Hi.
Yeah. Well, good. Hi. Glad that you all could join me tonight. And we're just really excited to hear your stories. Tonight, if you're on this live, and you're dealing with stubborn weight gain, brain fog, fatigue, things like high blood pressure, inflammation, or blood sugar cravings, this live is for you. We're going to be talking about how we can do something about that and help you start to heal from the inside out. In fact, tonight, right now, what I'd like you to do, if you're on this live, take a moment, and I want you to tag somebody. If you're in Facebook, or if we're also broadcasting on YouTube tonight, or get on the phone, text somebody, get one of your friends on this call tonight. This could be life-changing for them. So take an opportunity to do that and share. And I'm just going to pause for a second while I switch over to some slides. All right. So do that. All right. Well, I'm dealing, and I'm going to apologize in advance if we lose this live. I'm in Indiana, Central Indiana, and if you're from Central Indiana tonight, you'll know that we're going through some crazy thunderstorms, and so you may hear some background noise with those thunderstorms. So here we go. There we go. So tonight, let's do something for a minute. If you're joining us, take a look at this wheel here for a minute and look around the wheel. Think about you in the middle for a moment and, ask yourself, do you have one of these symptoms? Things like maybe high blood pressure or high cholesterol. Maybe you've got issues with your gut, IBS or ulcerative colitis. Those things aren't on here, but there's a lot of things that could be on this wheel that aren't. But maybe you're just dealing with visceral belly fat, or you can't get rid of that weight. Maybe you're dealing with arthritis, poor sleep, cravings. Many of us deal with that. If you're dealing with one or two of those things, again, this live is for you, because we're going to talk about a protocol that can help you heal from the inside out. But I want you to think about something for a minute. A lot of these things on this circle tonight have a doctor for almost every one of these, but they're actually related. Ever thought about how mood swings could be tied to a common root cause like arthritis? Most people don't think of that. Or high blood pressure and cravings and brain fog and type 2 diabetes. They all have a common root cause, or a common thing that causes these, and that is called insulin resistance. And tonight, this isn't about willpower. It's not about laziness, or if you're dealing with this is about a hormone. And once you really start to understand what's going on, we really won't be able to unsee it. And I think it'll start to make a lot of sense. But before we talk about insulin resistance, I want you to really understand what insulin is. And that insulin is this hormone that is made by a small organ right behind the stomach called a pancreas. And insulin is a hormone that is produced by the pancreas that acts like a key to unlock your cells so sugar can enter into the cells and be used for energy. But the problem isn't insulin. The problem is when insulin stops working, okay? And you can really tell how insulin's working a lot of times is if you've ever thought about, well, you've had a situation where you've had morning crashes after you've eaten, or in the afternoon you've had crashes. That's a real sign of maybe how insulin is working in your body, and you're starting to see it become metabolically unhealthy. So let's talk a little bit about what insulin resistance is. You may have heard about it on the internet. You may have heard some of us talking about these on live, seen it on Facebook, but it's really important to understand what it is. And it's really not about sugar. It's about signaling. And you see, insulin is the key your cells to unlock your cells. So when we eat, our food gets turned into glucose and goes into the bloodstream. And if our cells and everything's working right and insulin's working right, you can see on the left side that insulin attaches to the receptor of the cell and opens up the door and allows the glucose to get in and feed the cell. And we feel good, we have energy, we're focused, we're strong, and we're really in control. But most of us get in a state where we become insulin resistant and that key doesn't work so well, and access is denied and our energy is low, and that glucose doesn't get into the cell. And insulin resistance gets to the point where our cells are really, really starting to starve because they're not getting the food they need, right? And so the solution that we're going to talk about tonight will help us balance our blood sugar. It'll help us reduce inflammation and restore that signaling and reclaim your health and energy and feel great again, right? You can reset the system, right? Don't let somebody tell you, well, this is just age. It's not age. You can start to feel great again, heal the signal, and restore your life. And so what I want to start out right now is talk with Lisa. Lisa, you've joined us this evening, and hopefully I know you were having a little trouble hearing us. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear us. Can you okay? Can you hear us? All right.
I can hear you now.
So Lisa, excellent. Oh, we can hear you, Lisa. Thank you for joining tonight. Lisa's going to share her story about what it looked like for her when she was insulin resistant, and now she's moved toward being insulin sensitive. And her cells is starting to respond, and she's becoming more metabolically healthy. So Lisa, if you could just take a few minutes and share your story about a little bit about the protocol that we use on and what it's done for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, acid reflux disease, high blood pressure for 5 years. So I got tired of being on my medicine and not getting anywhere, just staying the same. One time they discontinued my medicine and put me on another one, but I had to wait a couple weeks, and I was like, thought I was going to die. You know, what am I going to do? And I knew right there a problem. And I thought there's got to be something more than this, better than this. So I started praying to God to get me off my medicine, and he brought me this. My friend Lorraine came and come see a demonstration, and I went to demonstration. I heard John Cox's story. It was amazing. And what got me is a 90-day back guarantee. I said, sign me up. Sign. I knew it was from God anyway. Good. And I was so determined to do this. So I was seeing every morning. I would up and and it was low. It was low. I was losing weight like 4 pounds a week because I was so determined to do this. I just fasted in the morning and didn't snack during the day and did eat lunch. Just waited till to eat. And lost 50 pounds in 3 months. Off all my medication in 3 months.
Wow.
My A1C was a 6.9, and now it's a 5.4.
Wow.
Got off my I seen the doctor on my 3-month check. So because I wanted to surprise him, I wanted him to be amazed, and he was. He came in and said, "How are you doing it?" I told him, and I said, "It's in the PDR." And I said, "Look it up." He goes, "I will, but keep doing what you're doing." Yeah, that's awesome. My story. Oh, and another thing, I had myopia, and my eyes got better. Yep. See my glasses?
Oh, yeah.
My eyes got better. So excited to hear that. And the eye doctor said there ain't no signs of diabetes.
Well, that's awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to show you this picture
And I'm
again to
feeling
everybody.
great.
Just
I have more energy.
yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. How's your energy level? I'm going to show this
Yeah.
picture. Look at this transformation, folks. If you're on here joining us tonight, this is awesome. Lisa, you look great,
Yes.
and that's really really exciting. Let me ask a question for you, Lisa. You know, a lot of people when we talk about, you know, you've lost some weight and doing real, and you talked about how you did that. Did you have to go on like? Did you start counting calories? Did you do that, or was it just a natural kind
No.
of thing that happened? Right. That's what's awesome about this protocol. In fact, I'm going to
Yep.
talk about
Natural
that
thing
here in just a
happened.
second. Yeah, yeah, excellent. So that's
Yeah.
so exciting. I
I
love
even look younger, feel
awesome. Very, very good. All right. So let me just
I'm
share, folks,
excited.
with you something here. Oh,
I've been on this 1 year already.
1 year?
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
wow.
I've been on this protocol 1 year already. 68 pounds total. Yeah.
Wow. That is
I
a
thank God every
transformation.
day.
Yes, what a transformation. How
Yes.
awesome. Exciting. Well, look, you said something, you know, about, and we kind of talked about it as not, you know, let me try to pull this screen up here just a second. So one of the things, if you're on this live tonight, we aren't really talking about eating less. This isn't something that we really talk about, this protocol being a weight loss program, right? It's not about eating less. It's about insulin going down. And the very first thing I started talking about tonight was insulin resistance. And this is a pretty kind of big chart to show on a live, but I really wanted to get the point home a little bit to help you understand what's happening is that every time we eat, our insulin and when our glucose goes up and our insulin goes up, right? We start to go in this roller coaster when we eat lunch and have a snack and or eat breakfast and then we have a snack and then we eat lunch, we get a spike, and then we have a snack, we get a spike, and we eat dinner. Every time we eat, we get this glucose spike, and our insulin doesn't go down. So when we're taught to eat 6 to 8 small meals a day, we never ever get the chance for our insulin to go down to a level that it needs to. And that problem is when our insulin stays high, we stay stuck in storage mode. Okay. And so we can never get to the point where we burn fat and get into that point, right? So insulin keeps the liver locked, lower insulin unlocks and gets us into fat burning. And over the side is that we give our bodies in this protocol a time to rest. And we try to get to a point where we do time-based eating. And you'll see on here, and we talked about it earlier, or I think Lisa, you said something about fasting. Don't get worried about it. In this protocol, I said, you know, I could never fast. It is so easy to be able to do time-based eating. And the protocol makes it so easy for us. And the thing is most people think when we start to, hey, I didn't eat for 2 or 3 hours, I'm burning fat. Well, actually, it takes hours for that insulin to come down and that sugar to come down. And in fact, what happens is the first thing that happens is we get the glucose out of our blood. And then the next thing is it burns the stored sugar in our liver called glycogen. And we usually have 300 to 500 grams of glycogen that we have to burn off. And then we get into fat burning. And a lot of times that doesn't happen until 6+ hours, and most of the time 12 to 16 hours. And if we eat during that period of time, the clock resets again, right? And so really it's not about how much you eat, it's about when you eat. And you won't hear us talking about, hey, you got to eat so many calories. In fact, I've got clients who were eating 1,800 to 2,000 calories a day and they were gaining weight, but I had other clients or that same person learned and they were eating over 2,000 calories by doing time-based eating and they actually lost weight. It's about when you eat and getting that insulin lower. All right. What I'd like to do now is switch to, let me get to Deb's picture here. Deb, want to give you an opportunity to share your story with us tonight. I'm really excited. This is, folks, tonight is my first night to meet Deb and hear her story and to be on one of my lives. And I'd like to hear your story. Got great family pictures here. We see a great transformation. I'm going to take it down here in a second so they can see you. But I'd like you to share your story about what it looked like when you were insulin resistant, before and after the protocol. What kind of transformation have you had?
Thank you, Scott, for having me on. And anybody on here who knows me knows I hate my pictures being taken and I hate being on video. And so you know it's important. This stuff has really blown Tom and I away. We've done natural products for probably 33 years, as long as we've known Bob. And, we spent a lot of money, and some of it worked and a lot of it didn't. And so I took care of my elderly parents for a long time. They were very ill, and I did not want my daughter to have to do this for us. And so we've always been searching for health. And I started having high blood pressure. I had horrible migraines. And we were just looking for something and nothing worked. In fact, 2 years ago, we went to this famous doctor in Livonia. We spent $7,000. Yes, $7,000. And we ate cardboard for 6 months and no improvements. And we didn't, nothing improved. And then in December, we heard from Bob. And like Cheryl Simon has said before under Bob, when Bob tells you to do something, you just do it. You just do it because you know it's a good thing. And so we started the middle of January, and I have not been able to lose weight for years. Could never figure out. I would not eat nothing and I would gain. I just couldn't lose. I haven't lost a ton. I've lost about 13 and a half pounds right now. My husband's a baker. He makes delicious pies. So that was going to intermittent fasting. Started out a little slow. We didn't hit it full gun. We didn't stop sugar. We didn't stop the carbohydrates. And in fact, at first, we didn't even know you couldn't eat between your meals. But we started this program. So about 3 months, a little over 3 months now, my high blood pressure is gone. I took my blood pressure a while ago as 126 over 67. And it was running 175 over 80 some. I have a high stress job and I just had a lot of problems with that. My migraines are gone. I don't have any. And the most curious thing for me is I could never sleep on my left side since I was a teenager. I'm 69, could never sleep on my left side. I'd wake up nauseous, dizzy for at least half a day. And I can sleep on my left side now. I can sleep all night on my left side. I've never been able to do that. No doctor's ever been able to tell me why I couldn't. My heartburn, I take, that's decreased about in half. And what else? I keep forgetting. High blood pressure was the biggest thing for me. And eating, it's almost a relief for us with the eating. You just know you can't, and you're not terribly hungry. You just don't think about it. And so the intermittent fasting, we stop eating about 6:30, and we will eat about 11:30 to noon. That's usually when I have lunch at work, and we eat something then. And I take the balance twice a day. My husband takes it one. His allergies are decreasing. He's doing better. It's just a general good feeling. It's just been a blessing to us. We finally have found something that works for us, and we're real pleased with it.
Awesome. Yeah. I know for me and my wife, the cravings, she loves bread. And so, yeah. And for me, it was chips. And so I found that it's been very easy to, because when this was first introduced, even though I'm a gut and metabolic health specialist, and talk about intermittent fasting, it was very difficult for me until I tried this protocol. And amazingly, how quickly things changed for me. Still love chips and still eat them at the appropriate time. And it's still okay to eat that bread at the right time. And so it's not really about restriction. It's about when, right? And of course,
it's about when, and you don't really miss it. You don't. And you can, Tom used to make pies all the time, cookies, and we'd go on trips and the car was packed with snacks, and we just don't feel like that anymore. We'll have a cookie now and then. We're not limiting. We still do some sugar. We still eat some pasta, potatoes, and breads. But we just do it better.
Yeah, that's right. Awesome. Very good. All right. Let me get over here and introduce everybody to Bob and Barb. Let me pull their picture up here. What a great looking couple. I've got to know Bob and Barb here in the last I don't know, Bob, what, 3 months, something like that. Got to know you and Barb probably over the last 3 months, something like that. So I keep hearing every time we do a live, when Bob says do it, you must do it. And that's about the fourth time I've heard that. So Bob is, we're very lucky to have Barb and blessed to have them on the call tonight. Bob is a physician's assistant, and he's been working in the medical field, 50 plus years, Bob? I'll let you share that. And then he owned his own health and wellness store, and I won't go into a whole bunch of that tonight. I'll let him and Barb share that. But Bob and Barb, they're just full of knowledge about metabolic health and wellness. And so I want you guys to share a little bit your story, what the protocols meant to you, and what it's done for you.
All right. Well, thank you, Scott, for the opportunity to share. As you said, I've been a physician assistant for 50 years. The first half of my career I spent in traditional medicine, family care, urgent care, emergency room. And then about 20 years ago, we bought an old building and turned it into a healing center. And we started doing what's called integrative medicine. So traditional medicine and natural medicine. And it really was a nice combination to have that many tools. I've always considered myself to be really healthy. But this summer, I developed a hernia. And we were planning to go to Ecuador for 4 months. And I decided maybe I should get that hernia fixed just in case it started to bother me when we were in a foreign country. So in November, I went in and at the pre-op, found that I had high blood pressure. And I was just shocked. I never have had high blood pressure. So about the same time, I got a text from some young lady that I didn't know, Shelby Craney. She had been following me on Facebook, but I had never met her. And she just asked if I'd be interested in some system that might help with chronic conditions. And I've always been kind of an opportunist. So I said, yeah, I'd be interested in that. So she sent me information, and then John and her and Amy Van Houten came to our home and gave a presentation. And I could see immediately the benefits for me, but soon I saw the benefits for many other people because this really got to the root of what was causing many people's chronic health disorders. You know, in traditional medicine and even in natural medicine, we're just chasing symptoms and using prescriptions and herbs and homeopathy, but nobody really had any answers for the insulin resistance, which is the root cause of all of these other conditions. So in December, we signed up and started using the product. And then we went out of the country and we continued to do it there. We walked every day and, you know, had quite a different routine than when we were at home. We would finish dinner in the evening at 6 and then usually had lunch next day, 11 or 12. I've been a cookie snacker for most of my life, and it was quite interesting. I would feel like I ought to have a cookie because I think that was a habit, and but I'd take a little swig of this Unicity and Unimate, and that feeling would go away. So it really was quite easy not to eat in the morning. While we were down there, Barb discovered a recipe for a a kind of a no-bake cookie that's made with pure chocolate, a little bit of banana, some peanut butter, and coconut. So I still have a few of those no-bake cookies. Uh, but this has really been very beneficial. My blood pressure's gone. I had awful acid reflux and esophageal stricture where food would get stuck. And so eating was actually kind of anxiety producing because I had to cut my food really small. I had to chew it a lot and drink water with every bite. And that had gone on for like 6 years. But within 3 weeks of starting this, all of that has disappeared. So that had been a real huge bonus for me. And like I said, blood pressure's normal. I've had some back pain because of a birth defect, and that's completely gone also. Um, and I feel good all the time. I don't have to take naps after lunch anymore. Um, Although that was quite enjoyable, I don't even feel the need for it. So this has been a real blessing, and we've brought quite a few people into the business, and it has been very successful for almost everybody that's used it.
Yeah, very good. That's great. That's a really great story. Barb, do you have anything? I assume you're using the product and the protocol. Do you have anything you'd like to share with us?
Well, I'm a certified natural health practitioner, massage therapist and stuff. And when I opened my store, we had a lot of people coming in and, buying things and asking questions. And like Bob said, we didn't always have the tools, but we tried to help them with diet and nutrition. And as for me, I've always been kind of lactose, but more, I never could eat, grains and stuff because I always had stomach problems. And so I always, cut back and trying to find new recipes and do different things. But with this, I mean, I had gained a lot of weight, but once we retired, it seems like my hormones were all screwed up and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. And we tried everything, went to different doctors, and they were like, I don't know. But anyway, so I just decided, I had to find out on my own everything. So, but with this, I didn't even worry about any hormone medicine or anything because I don't know. I just had energy. I felt like doing things. I didn't feel as moody. And I love to cook. So I was online all the time looking for different recipes that with no sugars and no flours. And I think that's why I lost so much weight. But anyway, I lost 25 pounds and I didn't even feel it. I felt good, but I didn't even notice it. He noticed it from the back, so, but anyway, he's always telling me, yeah, you're losing weight. So we went to a store and because where we were at in Ecuador, we didn't have scales or nothing. So we went to like a mall and found out some scales, and I got on them, and I was 140 pounds when I was here. And when I got down there, I got on, I was 115, and oh my goodness, so I went out to buy me some new shorts. So I thought, well, I'll buy a size smaller. So I bought a size 10. I got home, put them on, and they were too big. I thought, wow. So I had to go back and buy me some size 8, which was kind of nice, but it's like now I got all these clothes that are too big, and I come home, I had nothing to wear. So thank God there's a store next door. So I went over and bought a pair of jeans. At least I had something for a few days, but it felt kind of good, really. So, but anyway, so we still drinking our stuff and doing our drinks, and I'm still trying to cook without all the garbage, and feels good.
Yeah.
Bowels.
Oh, and I had a lot of digestive problems. I mean, when we went on our trips, everywhere we went, it's a lot of fried foods, especially in the UK. They had a lot of fried foods and bread, just like everywhere. It was hard to find, just regular food. And so anyway, but I had diarrhea so bad, and when I come home, I was like, oh, it was terrible. And so anyway, but that's all straightened out now. So that is a relief. So, yeah.
That's awesome. You touched a lot on a lot of things there, Barb, about the protocol and what it does, from hormones to your gut, right? And one of the
Yeah.
things is, and we'll talk a little bit about it, is that so important is fiber in our diet, right? To get our guts healthy. And today, so many of us aren't getting enough fiber whatsoever to keep
Well,
our
you
guts
know,
healthy.
I always thought I had a lot of fiber. I cooked, salads and all kinds, but this actually was a lot better,
Yes.
along with the other. So,
Yes, and the kind of fiber that it gives you, the soluble and insoluble fibers to be able to get your gut healthy. The other thing that we kind of been touching around here is Bob with your cookies, my chips, and Deb with your breads, right? We have these cravings. And folks, if you're on here tonight and you go like, oh, I just got to have more willpower, where there's something that really happens inside of our body when we get into what we call dysbiosis, and that means our guts become unhealthy. We got more bad bacteria than our good bacteria. It sends a signal to our brain that says feed the bad bacteria, and that's those sugary kind of sweets, the cookies, the breads, and things like that. And so there's really some physiology thing that's going on between our guts and our brains that's happened. So if once we start to heal the gut, then then our cravings will start to subside and get a lot better. The other thing, I think I can't remember, Lisa or Deb, you were talking about sleep, and then Barb, you were talking about our hormones, right? Our serotonin and our dopamine, 70% of our serotonin is made in our gut, right? And so there's a lot of things that are made in our gut that are really, really important for our hormone regulation. It's just not a point of which, for digestion, there's so much done by our gut that's very, very important to our metabolic health, and also important for our how we become more insulin sensitive and the short chain fatty acids produced. Bob or Barb, anybody, I've got a question on here for you, but I guess from your perspective of being in the health field, why do you think so many people are just becoming more unhealthy? If you look at it over time, people are gaining more weight. They're having trouble. They're seeing more fatty liver. So many people, even children, have fatty liver. We're seeing type 2 diabetics in children, and it's becoming more and more prevalent just across our population. Why do you think that is so?
it's easy for them. That's why.
Sure.
A lot of people I know say, well, I can just, go to the Subway and get something there, and it's quick. I don't have time. And I can't believe the people who don't like and don't know how to cook. I'm appalled.
Sure.
There's a lot of people who just don't want to cook.
Mhm.
So, that's the big answer.
On the go.
Yep.
Yep. All the kids' activities, just
Conveniences. Yep.
And the type of foods that we get, right? Loaded with sugar, and
Yep.
sugar is so addictive. In fact, a study showed that sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine, actually.
Yeah, but there's a lot of starches. But your potato starch and all your starches, those are worse than sugar.
Yes.
But and it's in
and then it
every.
slows you down. It slows you down. You don't feel like doing anything.
Yeah.
Eating that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is that the medical field and nutritionists for many years have been telling people to eat 5 or 6 small meals a day. And I was guilty of that. That was kind of the standard of care. And the reality is that's not how our bodies are genetically programmed. Our ancestors only ate when they could find food. So when they did have food, they gorged themselves, and then they might not eat for a day or two. And even in the Middle Ages, people didn't eat on a schedule like we do. So this whole time-based eating concept is kind of going back to what our bodies were designed for, so that we can shift between fat burning and glucose burning. It's kind of like having 2 heating systems in your house. You rely on the propane, but then when that runs out, then the electric backup kicks in, and that's how we're designed. When we eat all the time, we're constantly in storage mode, and we just keep adding to the camel hump that we need to burn it off. So,
Yep. It's that constant eating, and our insulin never comes down. And when the insulin doesn't come down, we can't get in that fat burning mode, right? So we've got to get that insulin down to a level that where we start to unlock things to start to burn fat. And I think
And,
that
you,
is the biggest thing I see with my clients as well.
and a lot of times, people think they need something to eat because all of a sudden they're tired and they just like, oh, I got to have something because my sugar level's low. So he goes and grabs a cookie and all of a sudden he feels better. But, it's just, it just gets to be a routine and it's, excuse, I think, but he loves his cookies.
well, there were times when I did have low blood sugar and I would get sweaty and headachy, and I would have to eat. But since I've been on this protocol, I have not had that one time.
Yeah. And as we come out of insulin resistance, right, and we basically are improving our efficiency of how our cells use the sugar, right? The efficiency of how insulin works, and we need less insulin to basically open that door into our cells so that our cells can use that glucose in our body. So it really is it's an inefficiency that we get into, and our cells start to starve. So yeah, no, those are great things, and that's really why we're becoming metabolically unhealthy. Lack of fiber, our food, right, and things like that. And one of the things, Barb, that you brought up is we're on the go all the time, or Deb, one of you guys did, on the go, and that's what makes this protocol nice, because it does help us because we are on the go all the time. And we're going to talk about that here in a few minutes of how we use it. Lisa's going to walk us through that here in a few minutes about how easy it is to use, and we're going to share the protocol. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my story a little bit. We've got a little bit of time, and if I can get a picture up here, I'm actually going to share for my wife and I both. She couldn't make it tonight, but she said it was okay to share. I was introduced to this protocol. A friend or a gentleman got a hold of me, Alan Kashner, a little over a year ago now, actually just right at a year, and shared the protocol with me. He saw me online talking about my gut metabolic health business. And at first, I will tell you, I was not interested. I was looking for my own protocol and started working, trying to figure out how to help my wife with pre-diabetes, trying to work through that. But then after I got to talking to him and I dealt in to all the patents and really understanding how the product worked, how it was made, how safe it was, and what it was really doing, I became sold on that. Both my wife and I have had great success with it. I lost 45 pounds in about 16 weeks. She lost 40 pounds in 16 weeks. My blood pressure is normalized, reduced inflammation. I'm 52. I feel like I'm in my 20s. I've got a ton of energy. My joints don't hurt anymore. Just increased energy, and my psoriasis continues to improve. For my wife, she was heading into diabetes. Reversed her pre-diabetes. Her fasting blood sugars were in the 130s to 140s in the morning. Now they're in the 80s and 90s in the morning. Reduced inflammation, increased energy, and then later in the year, last year, she surprised me, but she started to go off her antidepressants, and she'd been on antidepressants for over 30 years, and to be able to come off of those and feel so much better. And tonight, we're not here to tell you to go off your medicines. All we're doing, and not to put down doctors or anything. We want you to work with your doctors. This isn't medical advice, but work with your doctors if you go on this protocol. We've had success in being able to come off some of these meds, and you've heard the stories tonight about that. But my wife has been really excited to be able to come off those antidepressants, and it's just been transformational in our lives, and it's just been something exciting for us. And we just feel so much better, and feel really blessed that Alan Kashner shared that with us. And if he's on here listening tonight, put out a shout to him. Thank you, Alan. It's to me, it's been life-saving, because I really think that we were heading down a path that just could have been, shorten our life and just not feel as good and not be able to play with our children. And so my daughter's like, man, you've got lots more energy. And so I kind of, she's like, you got too much energy, Dad. So it's been exciting. have that kind of energy. So we've been talking a lot about this protocol tonight, and want to share it with you. And we're going to spend a few minutes just talking about it. And if I can get the slides up here, I'm going to try. I'm having trouble with my laptop here. You can be patient. Oh, here we go. So we use two tools along with time-based eating. One is called Balance, and it's a fiber, and it's designed to deliver a high-functional fermentable fiber that directly feeds the bacteria in your gut. And I was talking about how important that was earlier. Most people don't realize, but your gut bacteria rely on fiber to survive. And when they ferment this fiber, they produce short chain fatty acids like butyrate, which play a key role in metabolism, inflammation control, and gut lining integrity. So a lot of people when they have problems with their gut and don't get enough fiber, they get leaky gut. And this is where toxins leak into our gut, and we have this inflammation response, right? And so that's what causes a lot of the inflammation in our body. And Balance is unique in how it interacts with the glucose metabolism. And when you take it before meals, and Lisa's going to walk us through that in a little bit, it forms a gentle gel-like matrix in the digestive tract. And this slows down how quickly we absorb carbohydrates and how they're broken down and absorbed. So instead of that rapid blood sugar spike that we get, followed by a crash, you get a more gradual, stable response. And you can see that in that chart up here tonight. It's a little hard to read if you're online or on your phone, but the University of Sydney had done some studies on that to show that. So in practical terms, right, it helps curb your appetite between meals, and your blood sugar stays more stable. It supports your healthy cholesterol. It helps reduce that carbohydrate absorption, like I said. And it just makes you feel fuller. And when it feeds your gut and your gut microbiome, it helps you with things like IBS, ulcerative colitis, that constipation and diarrhea. It doesn't take you one way or the other. It just starts to get your gut healthy. It helps with your skin because you're not having an inflammation response from a leaky gut. Someone on here tonight said something about that we start to have their allergies are starting to get better. Well, one of the things is that most of our immune system, about 70% of our immune system comes from our gut, okay? And when that starts to heal, things like that start to get better. And we see responses where people are starting to see their allergy problems go away and get better. So when your gut bacteria are properly fed, they send signals that influence your immune system, your metabolism, and even your brain. And it starts to get where it starts to clear up brain fog. So Balance isn't just about fiber intake. It's about restoring that internal environment in your body that depends on it to function properly. So this is a product that we use. It's just one of our tools that we use in this protocol. And I'm having a terrible time with my computer here, trying to switch over to the next slide. Be patient with me here, folks. There we go. The other tool that we use is an yerba mate tea. And it targets your metabolism and appetite through a plant-based compound, especially using chlorogenic acid. And chlorogenic acid is a natural polyphenol, and it's been studied for its effect on glucose regulation and fat metabolism. And what it does is it helps slow the release of glucose in the bloodstream after eating. It improves insulin sensitivity, which helps your body use energy more efficiently instead of storing it. And it also influences enzymes involved in fat metabolism, okay? And encouraging the body to store or to use stored fat for fuel. And it helps that body naturally produce up to 67% more GLP-1. And there's been studies done on this. And you hear a lot about these GLP-1s that people are using today. And this is not a GLP-1. Your body can do that naturally. And that's what this product can help you do, is start to unlock that ability of your body to do that. So it helps, remove the food noise. Instead of fighting hunger, your body naturally feels more satisfied with this product. You feel fuller longer and have fewer cravings. And this is something that we take during our fasting time. And this has made a huge difference for me. You know, we were talking about tonight that, you know, Bob's got cookie cravings, Deb's got bread cravings, I got chip cravings. I'm going to tell you, I really was skeptical about the ability to go a long period of time without eating, because I did that. I was a believer in doing every 6 to 8 hours to eat. And after I really understood what insulin resistance is and use this product, wow, it's made a big difference from that perspective. So we've got a couple tools that we use. We use this Unamate Tea. We've got this fiber matrix that we use. Lisa, why don't you just take us through this about how you use it, how easy it is to use, and just walk the folks that are on here tonight, you know, through how we go about using it.
Yes. So,
All right, we can't hear you, Lisa.
just in the morning when you get up,
Yeah, you broke it. If you can go back and start back over. If not, we'll just have to see.
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Let's go ahead and try.
Okay. Okay. So you just take your Unimate bottle, Unicity bottle, and you just pour a bottle of water in it, or, you know, pour it to the top or whatever. And then you put your packet of Unimate in it. You put all that in it, you shake it, and then you just sip it until lunch. And then I have a light lunch. I just eat crackers and like peanut butter with the crackers. I put the peanut butter on the crackers and I eat that and a banana. And then I make another herbal mate tea. You shake it and you sip it till dinner. And then your dinner, you would take your balance, and it's right here. If you can see, it's marked right here. You just put water in it right up to there, and then you put your balance, all of it. You shake it a few times, and then you drink it all before you eat. And that's how easy it is.
Yeah.
Before you eat your biggest meal of the day.
Yeah. And a lot of times some people, and we change on the balance of when we use it. There's two flavors. There's a berry flavor and there's an orange flavor. And my wife and I don't take it the same way every day. We look at what we're going to eat. And if our largest meal of the day is at lunch, then like today it was, that's where we took our balance. And so this is what's flexible. You know, we talked about earlier being on the go. My wife carries in his purse. I carry this in my computer bag with me. We keep these in the center of our car. We carry a bottle of water. We go into a restaurant, ask for water with no ice, and pour it into one of our bottles, or put it in a water bottle. Do it and drink it up right before the balance, right before we eat. We chug that, and it's just so simple to carry with you versus a lot of other ways to go about trying to do this. It's just a really, really simple for us. I don't know, for you guys on here with me tonight on the Unamate, my wife drinks hers hot. I like mine cold, but she drinks the lemon. And for folks who like to have a hot tea in the morning or in the afternoon, she drinks hers hot every time and loves it that way. I like mine ice cold, but that's what's really cool about this. It can, you know, if you got to have that hot drink in the morning, that's a great way to do it. And there's a lot of people that do that hot. So Lisa, thanks for sharing with how you use it. I think it's very easy to use.
Very easy.
Yeah. And it's
We mix quite frequently.
What'd you say, Deb? I'm sorry, I missed that.
We mix our Unamate quite frequently. We'll mix the flavors together and add a bunch of cinnamon sticks. And I get the chocolate too. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
And I add a little bit of cocoa to it, make it even more chocolatey.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things you can do with it. It's really good.
I have this salted caramel. I just got it, and you can go to the shopping area, and it's called Fuel. I really like that.
Yeah.
And what we do with our balance, we take half a dose with each meal. We don't have usually one meal that's much bigger than the other, so we just do half a dose with each meal.
Yeah. And it makes it very easy to do.
Okay.
And And we do that
Fills you
sometimes
up.
too. Yeah, and it's very forgiving,
That's a
and
good
especially
idea.
when you're going out to eat, to be able to help you keep that glucose response lower, and then helps us get into fat burning mode quicker, keeps our gut healthy, and helps to start repair so that we get in to become more insulin sensitive. So if you're on here tonight, and let me get over to the next slide here. I apologize. I'm really struggling tonight with my mouse. It's decided to not give me much help. There we go. So just to share a little bit about it with you and how you can get it and what it looks like. This is a product that has over 20 clinical studies, and you can see the different companies on the universities and different places that's done studies. Cleveland Clinic, a world-renowned heart clinic, BYU, UNLV, Stanford, Harvard, right? All have done studies on this product to show what it does. It has actually more than 5 patents now. It's in the PDR. I think, Lisa, you mentioned that earlier. And what that means is it's in the physician's desk reference, meaning that your doctor can look it up, see see how to use it, look at that there's no side effects, explain how to use it. And so if you're wanting to talk to your doctor about it, they can look it up by typing in Unicity Balance, Unicity Unamate. They can see it right there. It's safe, natural. It's guaranteed, meaning there's a 90-day money-back guarantee on it. If you use this and it doesn't work the way that you think it should, the company will stand behind the product. But we do like you to try to give it just a try. You think about it. For most of us have spent 10, 15, 20, maybe 30 years getting into the problems that we talked about tonight, that visceral belly fat, or whatever it is, dealing with type 2 diabetes, or whatever that is along there. That didn't happen overnight, right? And so what we really wanted to have people try to do is to go at it for at least, give it a year. But in 90 days, you'll start to see a really, really good response. And it's also considered cost neutral. And the reason we say that is because, first of all, you're going to eat less inherently by fasting. And then you'll also, over time, you'll start to eat less, and you're not going to be snacking, but you won't want to either. And so my family and I'm kind of the budget nerd in the family, and we have 3 kids in our family that use it. And we actually save money using this. It's in over 60 countries now. And it's only about $5.30 a day, $159 for a subscription. Give it a try. It's something that is so worth it, that if you're dealing with some of those issues that we showed tonight, dealing with fatty liver, type 2 diabetes, or your energy levels just low, this is a product that we've seen time and time again help people just start to heal from the inside out and start to feel so much better. Folks, and then the other thing, just reach out tonight to one of these folks is on here that if they've called you, or they had you get on this live, or they ask you to get on live, or if you know them, reach out to them. They'll be able to help you get this product. They'll answer questions for you. Or if there's somebody else on this live tonight that's tagged you, reach out to them. They'll be able to help you. I know each and every one of Bob and Deb and Lisa and Barb, all just really passionate about this product and how it's been transformational in their lives and how it's helped them. And they just have a passion to share it. Guys, did I miss anything tonight? Anything else we should share or with them, or did I miss anything?
No. I just want to say, like I said, Tom and I have done natural stuff forever, and it's expensive. It is very expensive. We've wasted a lot of money on products that did not work. And this, it's a freaking breeze. I told you I spent $7,000, Tom and I, and it did nothing. And we ate good. We ate healthy, and nothing happened. Nothing at all. It's really, it's worth it big time.
Well, thank you. Thanks, everybody. Deb, for your first time doing a live, you did great. For as much as you said you do not like to be on camera, your story, and sharing tonight. I really appreciate that you came on here tonight and stepped out into that, sharing the testimonies here tonight and letting people understand the transformations that this protocol makes in our lives. So just great. Bob and Barb and Lisa, thank you so much for joining tonight. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your stories, sharing with people. Reach out to these folks if you're online, and they'll help you get this protocol. Tonight was, about showing you that your symptoms are not random, folks. If you're on here tonight, and it's not just aging, right? I really believe our bodies were designed to heal. And you don't have to stay stuck if you're struggling tonight with fatigue or one of those symptoms. Give us look us up. We'll be glad to help you. Thanks. You could have been somewhere else tonight besides sitting here on the live listening to us. If you stayed with us, we really appreciate that. And if you're on and you hear one of our replays on one of our Facebook pages, and want to reach out, just tag one of us. We'd love to help you. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next Monday night. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you much.
Bye-bye.